very sad to know the passing away of the greatest all-rounder ever cricket has seen in Sir Gary Sobers. Left-handed batsman, left-arm bowler who could bowl medium pace and also spin effectively. Fantastic fielder, safe slip catcher, and a shrewd captain. The greatest all-rounder the world has ever seen, and it is only after Sobers that all the other all-rounders will come in order, including the famous foursome of the 80s, Kapil Dev, Richard Hadley, Imran Khan, and Ian Botham, and the others that followed later, including Jack Callis. We all know the exploits of Gary Sobers. My first remembrance of Gary Sobers, of course, I was not born when he played those magnificent knocks and those wicket-taking deliveries, but having read about Gary Sobers over the years since I began to understand and start following cricket, and in my career as a journalism had the opportunity to meet him at least twice in person and interact with him. Before I got into journalism, it was when Ravi Shastri hit those 6 sixes of Tilak Raj in the Ranji Trophy in January 1985 that the newspapers splashed about Ravi Shastri being the second after Gary Sobers to hit those 6 sixes in an over. Gary Sobers, we saw, and later the videos emerged of him smashing Malcolm Nash of Glamorgan, Sobers of course playing for Nottinghamshire. It was then that I began to understand what a player Sobers must have been, and hearing stories later on, including those who have played against him, it just shows how Sobers was not only admired as an opponent but also respected as an individual. I have heard stories from Ajit Wadekar himself, who led India to their first ever overseas test victory in the West Indies in 1970-71, the series in which a certain Sunil Manohar Gavaskar made his debut with those record 774 runs in 4 test matches. The story goes like this. Gary Sobers once shook hands with Sunil Gavaskar and he scored runs. Before the start of play, he shook Sunil Gavaskar's hand before entering the field, and Sobers and West Indies did very well. Sensing that this was something which was working in favor of West Indies, Ajit Wadekar, an intelligent, smart captain, locked Gavaskar in the toilet of the Indian dressing room so that Gary Sobers does not shake Gavaskar's hand before going into the field. As it happened, Sobers did not score much, or West Indies did not do well. It was on that particular 1970-71 series. It was also, story goes, like how Sobers' miscalculation of the enforcing of follow-on, because a 5-day test match reduced to 4 days, and accordingly the follow-on mark changes. For a 5-day test match, it is 200 runs deficit. For a 4-day test match and a 3-day test match, or other first-class matches, it is 150, 100 for 2 days and 75 runs for a 1-day innings match. So Sobers did not quite know the law that particular time, and it was our intelligent Ajit Wadekar who enforced follow-on, and history says that India went on to win. So many stories you all would have heard, read about, and the old generation would have even seen the exploits of Gary Sobers, who, story goes like this, and it is true, that in a test match in Mumbai's Brabant Stadium, he wanted the match or finish the match early so that he goes to the Mahalakshmi racecourse for the afternoon races. West Indies did win that match, finish the match early, well in time for Sobers and a couple of his teammates to go to Mahalakshmi racecourse and enjoy the horse races. Ian Chappell often says about Gary Sobers' exploits during his stint in Australia in the Sheffield Shield. One who loves to enjoy life, who has late nights. There is one particular story I heard of Sobers walking into the team hotel just when his teammates were ready to leave for the ground for that particular day's action. Sobers having a lovely time out in Australia. One of the cities must be Sydney, Queensland, I guess it is. Batted Sobers. When his turn came to bat, he just walked out and smashed the bowlers that he went on to score. I think it is that 254 famous innings of his that was the result of that particular night out. It was not just one-off incident. He is one who is known to enjoy his life. Off the field, it doesn't matter what one does, but on the field, he showed how truly a class cricketer he was. I had the opportunity to meet him on three occasions. Once before getting into journalism, when I was sowing the seeds of a journalism career way back in the late 1990s in Chennai. Sobers was invited to be coaching at the Mac Spin Foundation at the Spic ground, if I remember right. Heard that Sobers was visiting one afternoon there, and I, from my Besanagar house, cycled all the way to the ground, not the Spic ground, but those huge grounds on the right side as you go towards Gindi. Sobers waiting for the players, the spin trainees to arrive. I gathered courage to approach him. He was trying to avoid me, thinking I was an intruder, but his admiration, having heard of Sobers, to see him in flesh and blood, I just had to gather courage to approach him, and after having mustered enough courage, asked him if I could get an interview with him. I was writing for Madras Musings then, edited by the renowned late Madras historian S. Muttaya. Sobers, in his typical style, said to me, "You have to pay me for me to give you an interview because you are going to make money from my interview." I was a novice. I did not know what to do. I just said, "Thank you very much," and left the scene. Of course, I did take a couple of pictures of Sobers standing alone and him with the trainees. The other two occasions when I got to meet him was when I was into a newspaper working as a cricket journalist. Sobers visited Mumbai before the 2007 ICC Cricket World Cup as a brand ambassador of the Barbados tourism. Sobers, along with Joel Garner, visited Mumbai and promoting Barbados tourism in connection with the then upcoming ICC Cricket World Cup. A group of media personalities were invited from different newspapers. There was an interaction with him and Joel Garner, and of course, I did not miss the chance to get Sobers' autographs on his autobiography, Sir Gary. The third instance was when he was in Mumbai for the promotion of, I think, his granddaughter's then upcoming movie, Yes, Ramanujan. Sobers, with his wife, had a good time at the terrace of the Taj Mumbai Hotel, and it was then where most of his opponents from the Indian team, including Avjit Wadekar, Farooq Engineer, and a few others, met them, and I had the opportunity to see Sobers so friendly mingling with his opponents of his playing days. So these are my memories of Sobers, of course, the greatest ever all-rounder cricket has ever seen. In today's world of T20, I'm sure Sobers, if he was playing today, would have been the hot favorite, hot pick first up for any of the franchises in the leagues. He would have smashed any bowler left, right, and center. That was Gary Sobers. Condolences to Sobers' family and the cricketing world, and in fact, the sporting world will certainly miss a true all round sportsperson. Rest in peace, Sir Gary, and condolences to the family. Thank you.